Welcome to day 303 of the New Way. I'll reread Matthew 26:31 through 35. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "this very night, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." But Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples said the same. And let's read Mark 14:27 through 31. "You will all fall away," Jesus told them, "for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter declared, "Even if all fall away, I will not." "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "today, yes, tonight, before the rooster crows twice, you yourself will disown me 3 times." But Peter insisted emphatically, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the others said the same. And I'll read Luke's version in Luke 22:31 through 34. "Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers." And he replied, "Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and to death." Jesus answered, "I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me." And I'll read John's version in John 13:36 through 38. Simon Peter asked him, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus replied, "Where I am going, you cannot follow now, but you will follow later." Peter asked, "Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you." Then Jesus answered, "Will you really lay down your life for me? Very truly I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. Let's look at these final verses before Jesus and his disciples leave the upper room. I want you to see something else. How successfully did Peter predict his future performance? Not at all. I don't think Peter knew his weak spots and his limitations. How well did the other disciples predict their performance? Again, not at all. Now let's look at Jesus' predictions that night. Jesus told them when the trouble would begin. I'll read Matthew 26:31. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me." And he says what would happen to his disciples. That's also in Matthew 26:31. "I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered." Listen to how specific he was in his predictions about what would happen to Peter. I'll read Matthew 26:34. "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "this very night, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. And Jesus also states that after a period of struggles, Peter would strengthen his fellow apostles. I'll read that in Luke 22:32. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. Then Jesus predicted something else recorded by both Matthew and Mark. I'll read it in Matthew 26:32, where he says, "But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Jesus predicted that he would be alive again, resurrected. Let that soak in. Jesus says he is going to be arrested, die on a cross, then meet them in Galilee afterward. No problem. And if you've heard the Easter story since birth, you might just miss this. Please, please take a few minutes and imagine the room. Everyone is upset and preparing for Jesus' impending death. And he says, "Oh, and don't forget to meet me in our regular meeting place," I assume his home, "in Galilee afterward." Some of you know this story and already know that Peter and the other disciples were not accurate at all in their predictions of what would happen in the coming hours. And you already know that Jesus' predictions turned out to be absolutely correct. But for other readers, I want to resoundingly assure you that every single one of Jesus' predictions were 100% accurate. You'll see it for yourself in the coming studies. You see, God knows what will happen even before it happens. We've talked before that he is omniscient. He knows everything. And omnipresent. He can be everywhere at once, including past, present, and future. I don't believe he causes it to happen, predetermination, but that he knows everything from the beginning to the end, which is called foreknowledge. What that says to me is that I can trust him to know what is best for me. When I say he knows what is best, that's what I mean. He knows what is best. He completely knows everything, past, present, and future. In his service, Dale.